All right, a long-awaited 99 tunnel. That's what we're talking about tonight. We're just days away from the opening on Monday, according to WashDOT. This is a preview of what drivers will experience on their first drive. So buckle up. This is a 2-mile stretch of the road, and it will replace the Alaskan Way Viaduct. Now, some drivers are eager to drive in the new tunnel.
Yeah, that can't happen until Monday. So AJ Janavel shows us a preview of what it might look like from behind the wheel.
Okay. Just to be clear, I'm in the Q13 garage, but with a little bit of TV magic, I'm going to take you on a virtual tour of the new 99 tunnel. Come on. And just like that, we're off. The first thing you notice about the tunnel is it stretches about 2 miles from the Space Needle to the stadium. And once you're in it, you're in it. There are no mid-tunnel entrances or exits. There are 2 lanes in each direction. And unlike the viaduct, which was kind of narrow, the tunnel has 8 feet of shoulder space on each side of the road. So if you get into any kind of issues, you can pull over safely. If you ever get stuck in traffic in the tunnel, sensors will pull fresh air from outside of it right to where you're sitting.
Fans would come on and suck the smoke out.
And if there's ever an emergency in the tunnel, officials say they're ready.
The fire system would dump water right here to try to extinguish the fire, and people would evacuate out the door.
The doors he's referring to are these emergency exits. And one thing transportation officials want you to be aware of is when this tunnel opens up on Monday, no one on the road will have ever driven it before.
Things are going to look different, and take your time, travel a little bit slower, give yourself more time to stop, pay attention to the guy in front of you, stop fiddling with your radio.
So now you have a little idea of what to expect when the tunnel opens up on Monday. Heck, technically, you're one of the first people to drive through it. Reporting here in Seattle, I'm AJ Janavel for Q13 News.
So the one thing that you might want to do, and maybe AJ will do this when he gets to drive through, is open the sunroof or roll down the windows. I always yell when I'm in a tunnel. I love
You do?
Yeah, you
Wow.
gotta scream when you go through the tunnel.
You do?
You don't ever do that?
I have not. I feel like I'm missing out.
Yeah, it's fun.
I appreciate that drive-through. AJ's a great driver. He can drive and talk at the same time. I
Pretty
think he had his
amazing,
blinker
yeah.
on, which is just an added bonus.
Yeah. A reminder, he wasn't really driving and talking.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that you know
Yes,
that.
it's all just.
It is going to be cool. I'm looking forward to driving through it, just to check it out.
I think everybody is,
Yeah.
right? After all these years of work.
Yeah. In less than 2 weeks, crews will start demolishing the Alaskan Way Viaduct, wrapping up an important chapter in our region's history. For more than 65 years, the elevated highway has offered drivers a way to skirt downtown right along the waterfront.
And as Matt Lorch found out, the viaduct helped transform Seattle into a modern city, and its removal is stirring emotions for some people.
Some in Seattle are ready to say good riddance.
It's kind of an eyesore, to be honest with you, so I think it's going to be an improvement.
Others, like Susie Kukelhan, are more nostalgic.
When it was first put up, it was something wonderful.
She and husband Lee have vivid childhood memories of riding on the Alaskan Way Viaduct right after it opened.
I had it as I was a little kid, and it's kind of something special.
Is this emotional for you?
Oh, yeah.
For her, this elevated highway, a hunk of crumbling concrete, is as symbolic of Seattle as the Space Needle, Smith Tower, and Ivor Seafood. Someone else who gets that personal connection.
This was definitely a huge step forward.
Is local historian Felix Bunnell, who talks about the viaduct, the first double-decked highway in the state, being transformational.
So this was seen as a way of coming into the 20th century. That post-war economy is booming, and the viaduct lets people move quickly through the city.
It's kind of hard to believe, but even in the early 1900s, Seattle drivers complained about traffic. Crews started building the solution in 1950, the viaduct, as a way to bypass the downtown gridlock. It opened April 4th, 1953, to plenty of pageantry.
Having a new highway, it was worth celebrating. It was worth having a ribbon cutting. It was worth having, seafair beauties out to show that this was a special day in Seattle's history that would be remembered here, 70 years later.
Over the next several years, crews extended the viaduct through the industrial district, now known as SoDo. The city was so proud of it.
How about access?
It showed it off in a promotional video in 1961, highlighting what made Seattle so modern.
The viaduct skirts the central business district and connects with the Spokane Street viaducts, giving speedier access to West Seattle and Seattle's southern industrial areas.
A shining highway that by the 1970s had lost its luster. Calls to tear it down would grow by seismic proportions in 2001, after the ground shook from an earthquake.
The Nisqually quake in February 2001 damaged it so much that a solution had to be found.
In 2006, the future of the viaduct went to the voters, with people divided over its fate.
I remember driving by somewhere and I saw a bumper sticker that said, "I heart the viaduct." I thought it was a joke. In some ways, it was almost a battle between New Seattle and Old Seattle.
At first, Old Seattle won. Voters said no to both replacement options, a new viaduct and a tunnel. But 5 years later, in 2011, those voters would reconsider. In April of 2017, the world's largest tunnel boring machine, nicknamed Bertha, overcame earlier breakdowns and unforeseen objects, completing its nearly 2-mile journey. And by the end of 2018, the new State Route 99 tunnel was complete and ready for traffic.
Seattle's always been about its future. You know, the viaduct is coming down. I'm not sad about it. I mean, I'll miss it. I'll miss that drive.
A drive unlike any other in the world, giving us stunning views of Elliott Bay and the Olympic Mountains that so many, like Susie Kugelhan, will dearly miss, making her husband a bit envious.
You're never emotional about me.
Yeah, but you're not a viaduct.
Proving for this city, the viaduct has been so much more than just a way to get through town.
Okay, another fun fact about Seattle's history, courtesy of Felix Bunnell, the chief architect of Seattle's World Fair and the designer of Key Arena, Paul Thierry, said before the viaduct was ever built, it would become a blight along the waterfront. He actually said a tunnel was a better option. 70 years later, his vision is becoming a reality.
Oh, it's so cool. And I mean, it's just decades of history for people who grew up in this city. And for a lot of people, it is nostalgic to see it go.
It's going to be a whole new world in a couple of years, though.
Yep, and you can get a chunk of it if you want to show up this weekend for the event.
That'd be kind of cool.
Right? Just a little
I think like
piece.
something like that, you almost need to have it put like a little piece of glass or something. Otherwise, just a chunk of concrete.
Just put it on the mantle. It's a talking piece. Conversation starter.
Still ahead, Walter's going to be back to explain the possibility of snow and ice in Western Washington over the next few days.